All right. Well, thanks for joining us today. We're going to just talk a bit about Ramadan and Eid. Bash, just tell us a bit about what you do at Wells Road.
First of all, good afternoon, everyone. Basically, I'm a sports instructor for the forensic. Yeah, and my role is to promote sports within the mental health, as well as looking on a bit on the physical health. I work within the OT, and yeah, that's it.
That's great. And Sara, what about you? What's your role at Wells Road?
My role at Wells Road is that I'm a staff nurse, so I work on Porchester Ward. So that's a male low secure rehabilitation unit. So yeah, I'm a staff nurse and I have 3 named patients. It's good.
Yeah, sounds like that keeps you busy.
It does, yes.
It's good. Okay, let's just think a bit about Ramadan then. Bash, just tell us a bit about what Ramadan is and why Muslims keep it.
Okay. Basically, just to understand what Ramadan is, we got to understand the word, what Ramadan means itself. Ramadan derived from the Arabic word, which is Ramadan, which is intense heat. So we need to feel the heat, basically. Yeah, that's what it means. And during this month, basically, with Muslim, they fast from sunrise to sunset. So basically, when we mean fasting, like at the moment it's around 3 o'clock, we got to get up, and then we eat something. If we don't get up, it's very hard to fast, basically. And if you do it inconsistently, the fast might not even count. So you got to get up. That's the hardest. And then we got to basically eat like till 3:10, and during the whole day till the sunset, no drink, no food, no sexual relationship, and we got to keep ourselves as much as pure we can, like controlling our tongue, and then don't do things which gonna hurt people, basically. And then the other things about Ramadan is a very spiritual month. It brings us very close to our Creator, which we call Allah, God. And the other side of it is to also feel what other people goes through in their hardship. Like some people are, they are on very low income. They eat one meal a day, and so it's to make us feel what goes across the world, also in the poor countries. And at the end, it's basically God ordered us, namely to show mercy to those who suffer. That's one of the most important things. It's about suffering, understanding suffering. It's why going through Ramadan that month, specifically that month, 30 days or 29, depending on the lunar calendar, basically. We are based on the lunar calendar. That's one thing we need to understand, that Ramadan is based not on the normal calendar we have, but a lunar calendar. And Ramadan is normally...
That's why it's a different date every year. Because it's a different calendar to the solar. Yes.
Yeah, the lunar, not the solar, the lunar. Yeah, we need to be very clear about it's the lunar calendar, and basically it does rotate throughout every year. Like you said, Kev, it moves around, and then it's a 9 month of the lunar calendar for us. Yep, that's Ramadan.
So Ramadan is a very practical thing in the sense that it's about personal reflection, spiritual growth, and also identifying with other people who might be in difficult circumstances as well. So, I mean, that leads me on to think about, and perhaps this is a question for you, Sara. It sounds to me like Ramadan is difficult enough anyway. A challenge. So how's that been in the lockdown?
So with regards to lockdown, it's changed because obviously you're unable to go to attend the mosque and perform congregational prayer together, and also we have every night Tarawih prayer. So we aren't able to go and perform that with friends, families. We're unable to go to families to have iftar. which is a bit sad because normally this is a great time because you're able to spend that time with your families, speak to them, which is, it feels like when you're together, you're not as whole together anymore. So you're unable. My sister lives in London, so I haven't been able to spend that time with her and open fast with her. And it's a nice time because I really like it because you get to spend that time with your family, you get to pray with them, and that's what Ramadan is all about, is spending time with your family and appreciating what you have in this world.
So it's had a real impact then with the sound of it on the usual way of doing things. I mean, how this for both of you, how has Ramadan been? Do you make adjustments at work? I mean, for you, Bash, as well, being a sports instructor, that must be a challenge when you're fasting. So what sort of changes do you have to make in your daily routine?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a very, very much a physical challenge for me, and because if you think that when you eat something in your body, it stays in your body for 4 hours, how much you're going to eat in the morning? Some people think that when you get up, you can eat as much as you can. It's really impossible. And when you go through that phase of 30 days, your body shrink, your digestive system shrink also. So you eat very little, like a cup of milk sometimes can't even go through. And basically, for me, when I come to work normally, it will be most of my sessions are very empowering session. I get involved in it because this is how I can motivate the service users and so on. So at the moment, at the beginning, I was able to, at the beginning, on the first week, I still have the strength. So, but my guys who I work with, they are well aware that I'm fasting. Okay. So they know, first week I was on hand on deck workout. Second week I started slowing down, and I know that I can't make the whole day basically like this, like running 4 or 5 sessions in a day. It's impossible. So I've got to time myself, pace myself, and some of the session I'm doing my workout, like this is me basically in my session. However, rather than I'll give you an example, going for a very competitive gym session, I might just keep it quite relaxed on a low intensity, and that's the hardest bit about it. But the guys understand, and I can say at work also, they understand that I can't be always the same, but because this is Ramadan, is Ramadan. People, it's more important than everything for any Muslim. It's more important than money, work, or anything. So I've got to do what needs to be done. Yeah.
Thank you. What about for you, Sara?
So as a staff nurse, we complete quite long hours, like our shifts pattern. So we usually perform 12.5-hour shifts. So it's just about, I sat down with my manager prior to Ramadan starting and just saying like, sometimes I probably won't be able to perform to the best of my ability during these long shifts. So we looked at the rota and we just, for me personally, I just looked at it and thought, what am I capable of, what's going to be beneficial for me. So I've shortened my hours in the way that I spread them out throughout the week. So I wouldn't do a whole block of sort of 3 long days, because that's like a working week for some people. So I'm not able to. So I wanted to ensure that I could perform properly throughout Ramadan. So as well as that, my staff members, I've been educating them on Ramadan, and they're grateful for it because they've got someone that can teach them about it. And so I've also swapped from completing night shifts. I've asked if I could just do long days instead, so I'm able to perform Ramadan as best as I can.
Yeah. Well, that's great. It's good that there are adjustments, and it's possible to have that negotiation and support from colleagues and as well. In terms of patient support, then, because I know that we do have Muslim patients, what kinds of work and resources and support are you giving to those in your respective roles?
So Sarah did a great job on that, so I'll let Sarah.
So within my role, one second, I've got a cough stop. So within my role, I've got a Muslim patient on my ward. So I just sort of I looked across the unit whether who was Muslim, who wasn't, whether they're, regardless of them being practicing or not. And I spoke to the managers of their wards, and just thought, it'd be nice to complete like a Ramadan care package. I gave in this care package, I gave like prayer mats, dates, just so they have some sort of familiarity, because a lot of the time when patients are in services, that kind of gets lost, and because sometimes staff members don't have that understanding. So, and the patients were really grateful, just talking about Ramadan, what it means to them, what they would usually do on a day-to-day basis if they weren't, if they were able to fast, because a lot of the time patients are on medication, so they can't fast. And it just you could really see a difference with them. A lot of the patients are really grateful and really happy that that this was being completed. And one of the patients, she wouldn't stop saying may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, and she was really she was near to tears because she was so happy,
felt supported. And
and then what we've also spoke about, I'm hopefully going to do an Eid party with these patients, so there's something they can celebrate, and so that familiarity, just ensuring that as a service that we're including everybody.
One of the things that I've come across in my experience in the trust over the years at Rampton Hospital and different sites is that although patients are exempt from fasting because of their medical and circumstances being a patient in hospital, is feelings of guilt can arise because of not keeping the fast, because maybe they've had that tradition for so many years. Bash, what would you say to those people that are struggling with those feelings of guilt and pressure?
Anything in Islam, basically, it's very simple. If you can't do it, you don't need to do it. That's something which is very clear from the beginning, because God is merciful. And for us as Muslim, we understand that intention counts a lot as a Muslim. So if you're willing to fast, but you cannot, you shouldn't. A big example would be if you have a son and you gave him a task to do the next day, and on that day he's poorly or sick, would you force your own son to do it? This is how the common sense comes in Islam. Islam there's a lot of common sense. It might be there's a guidance by some books. However, we need to understand like if somebody is pregnant, they don't need to fast. If somebody is traveling, they don't need to fast. Like Sarah mentioned, if somebody's on medication, which is a priority for their health comes first. We shouldn't forget that. It is very clear about that. Health comes first.
So again, very practical in its approach.
Yeah, it is a very practical approach. There's something which I don't know, it's just froze at the moment, the screen.
Yeah. So that's all right. Right.
There's something which is called the fidya, which means that you can pay. You basically, if you cannot fast for a certain amount of days, you can pay a poor person to fast for you also, or by feeding that person for a couple of days or month or whatever it is, how many days. And for those who's not been able to fast because of whatever reason, they've been traveling, they can still, after Ramadan, they got a whole year, because it's a calendar, they got a whole year to make the 30 days. So it's basically it's a very fair system, basically, if we put it like that. It is.
Now we've got just a few minutes left. I'm just thinking about Ramadan now is drawing to a close this weekend. Sara, we hear this term sometimes about the night of power. Can you just explain that a little for us?
Yes. So in Arabic it's called the Laylatul Qadr. So which means it's the night in which the Quran was first revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Prophet Muhammad. So Muslims believe that this is the most important event in history. And sorry, I've got a cough stuck again. It's pity there's no water. So Muslims believe that this is the most important event in history, and they say that it's better, that it's worth more than 1,000 months, and that on this night that the angels descend to earth. So some say that when you pray and when you make dua, which also means prayer, that this prayer is answered. So a lot of the time, I know from childhood that we would, we'd stay up on this night. So throughout the night, my mum, family, we would, pray together. So because it's got a lot of meaning and a lot of, importance on this night.
Yes.
Yeah, just Kev, just one thing on that bit. Yeah. It's because a lot of people think it's more a traditional thing than Islamic thing. Yeah, we need to be very clear. People think like, okay, it's at the end of the month. It's between the 10 last days, basically. So some people say, oh, it's on the 27th, which is a lot of people do it, especially pray that day. But I just want to clarify that bit, that it can last from the last 10 days. And we don't know that. I'm sure Sara.
Yes. That's interesting.
So there's odd nights as well. So some say that today, so Tuesday the 19th, is an odd night. So some days have more importance than others. So.
Oh, it's so interesting. We spoke earlier about the impact of lockdown on Ramadan. Bash, Eid's going to look very different. What's that going to be for you this year?
It's already been a very difficult Ramadan, let's put it like that, to be honest. Sara already commented on that. Now imagine the Eid. Eid is supposedly being our Christmas, our New Year. It's the biggest event in the Muslim calendar, basically. It's we got two celebrations, which is to Eid, and the other one come in a couple of months. So this one is the big one, the gathering. We're already missing eating together with the family. Now just imagine on the big day, after 30 days of going through all the good suffering, let's put it, it's not the bad suffering, it's a good suffering, and understanding all this, and now you kind of feel you're delivered now. You can express yourself, but you can't meet your loved one. Like Sarah got family in London, I got family in London, and it's just at home basically. So it would be, I'm pretty sure we might do a family live show on internet, because it's coming very common. That's the only way to do it. And I think,
has Zoom become a thing within this season with family?
Sarah, you?
Yeah, I've been using FaceTime. A lot of my family have iPhones. Just yesterday I FaceTime my sister, and just while she was making dinner, so I was speaking to her and my brother-in-law whilst they were making dinner. So a lot of the time, just on family group chats as well, we're all asking what are you having for iftar, and then a lot of the time we'll FaceTime each other while we're cooking, giving each other tips and such.
That sounds great. Now we're almost out of time. Just a couple of quick questions. What's it like returning to a normal eating pattern after Ramadan? And Bash, I don't know if you want to have a go at that.
It's already very hard at the moment to have a pattern. We don't even have a night pattern, a sleep pattern, and it's all over the place, because prayers you pray, even though the mosque are closed, we can still pray at home. So we stay over the night, and then you 3 o'clock, and then you try to sleep, you can't sleep, you're at work. So now eating itself would be, we're already struggling to eat. And just imagine you've been, after 30 months, your digestive system has shrunk so much. And now you're trying to eat. People have that kind of thinking, oh, you've been fasting, so you'll be able to eat that much, honestly. Well, it would take at least, for me personally, it does take at least 2-3 weeks to get back to my normal meal. And and that would be.
So you don't just dive in and binge all day on your first day back.
You're gonna have digestive problem.
And so just a thought about Sara. What's your favourite food throughout this whole season? Do you have something?
I do, or my favourite food in general, but my mum makes it more in Ramadan. She makes lamb chops. That's always been my favourite food. Oh,
that sounds good. And what about you, Bash?
My favourite food is basically, it's the only month I can eat some cakes, like some mostly traditional Indian cake and stuff like that. But so it would be like samosas, lamb chop and stuff. But
That sounds so good. That sounds so good. So, well, thank you for your time. As we go then, each of you, what do you have a message, something you'd like to pass on in this season of Ramadan and Eid?
Well, I'll just say basically all the good job, especially our, the Muslim people have been doing, like giving. There's something which I'm going to touch briefly, is giving zakat. Basically, it's called the surplus of money you have, which you accumulated over a year when you give it. But you can give it every month also, yeah. So that will be something which should continue. And the good action, especially, we shouldn't forget that Ramadan is just not only for a month, like abstaining from so many things, and then we can just build on. And now knowing all what we've been going through, like COVID, people struggling for food and everything, I think it's a good old reflection, like you mentioned earlier. It will be reflecting on, okay, how best we can just continue to live on 1-2 meal, but very moderately. Yeah. So.
Thank you, Sara.
So, like Bash said, just thinking about others, continue to try, even though Ramadan is obviously a month, just trying to perform your regular 5 prayers, just being sort of the best person that you can be after Ramadan. It teaches you so much. It, like you said, you reflect a lot, and it enlightens you to not everything is as superficial my words are getting tongue twisted then. That just to take care of everybody, and during this current pandemic, that there's people suffering, and just being more inclusive of everybody and just taking care of one another.
Yes, yeah. Well, thank you. I know it's early, but let me say Eid Mubarak to both of you and your families. And thank you for taking this time. It's been really interesting and informative, and I know people will get a lot from it. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having us here. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.